My mother told the entire family I was not invited to my sister's engagement trip because, in her words, I was just airport staff. She said it in our family group chat like I was a stain she could wipe off with one sentence. The message popped up on my phone while I was standing under the departure board at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, the blue glow reflecting off the polished floor. Flights scrolled upward in neat rows. Delayed. On time. Boarding. Gate changes blinking like quiet warnings no one outside this building ever noticed. I noticed everything. It was my job. Engagement trip itinerary is finalised, my mother wrote. This one is just for the kids who represent the family well. Then she tagged my sister. My brother. Smiling emojis. Champagne glasses. A heart. My name was not there. I stood still for a full 5 seconds. Let that sink in. In the busiest airport in the world, surrounded by rolling suitcases, boarding announcements, and the constant hum of jet engines, I had never felt smaller. I work as an airport operations coordinator at ATL. That means when weather goes sideways, when crews time out, when gates clog and tempers flare, my phone rings. It means steel-toe boots, a radio clipped to my vest, and hands that smell like jet fuel and burnt coffee by the end of a 12-hour shift. It also means I know how this place breathes, where it breaks, and who has the power to keep it moving. To my mother, none of that mattered. She has always preferred jobs you can brag about at church. Doctors, lawyers, executives in tailored suits, not the daughter who clocks in before sunrise and goes home with a stiff back and grease under her nails. At family dinners, she used to say I was helping out at the airport, like I was passing out pretzels at a gate instead of coordinating operations for tens of thousands of passengers a day. I read the message again. Just airport staff. A second notification buzzed. A private text from her. Do not take it personally. This trip is about image. Image. That word burned hotter than the Georgia heat outside the terminal windows. I thought about the times I had quietly helped them. The last-minute flight change I fixed for my brother when he was about to miss a conference. The upgraded seat I secured for my mother after her knee surgery, completely within policy, though she never asked how I managed it. The luggage nightmare I untangled for my sister before a vacation she proudly posted online, never once mentioning the call she made to me in a panic. I did not reply. Overhead, an announcement echoed through the concourse. Attention passengers. Some passengers. Due to developing weather conditions, we are monitoring potential delays this afternoon. I looked up at the internal operations screen mounted near my workstation. A yellow alert pulsed softly. Potential ground stop. Afternoon storms moving fast from the west. My mother was celebrating status. My sister was packing designer dresses and dreaming of engagement photos on a beach. And I was standing at the centre of a machine that decides who flies, who waits, and who does not go anywhere at all. I slid my phone into my pocket and adjusted my radio. For the first time, I was not wondering how to make my family proud. I was wondering something else entirely. If I was just airport staff, then why did everything they took for granted move through my hands? By the end of my shift that night, the words just airport staff had settled into my bones. I replayed them while I walked the long corridor behind Concourse C, past the vending machines humming softly and the scuffed linoleum floors only employees ever saw. Out on the public side, travellers argued with gate agents about delays they did not understand. Back here, we understood everything. Weather patterns, crew legality, aircraft maintenance cycles, pressure points. I had learned this place from the inside out. I learned it the year my father died. He collapsed in our kitchen on a Tuesday morning, coffee still steaming in his mug. A stroke. Fast and final. Overnight, the mortgage became a threat instead of a bill, and my mother's voice changed. It sharpened. She started talking about holding things together and what people would say. My siblings had internships and graduate programs. I had a conditional offer at ATL operations and a willingness to work nights. So I stayed. I took early shifts and late shifts. I learnt the radios, the codes, the chain of command. I learned how to calm an irate captain without backing him into a corner. I learned which supervisors could bend policy and which ones would break you for asking. I paid bills quietly. I picked up groceries on the way to my mother's house and fixed the loose step by the back door because my father used to do that. None of that ever made it into her stories. At family gatherings, she would tilt her head when someone asked about me and say, "She is at the airport," the way people say someone is between things. When relatives pressed, she would laugh and add, "You know, one of those jobs." Meanwhile, my brother's business cards were passed around like souvenirs. The night after the group chat message, my brother texted me. "You are reading too much into it," he wrote. "Mum is stressed. This trip is important for the family image. Do not be dramatic." There it was, the familiar instruction. Swallow it, smooth it over. Be useful but not visible. I did not respond. Instead, I pulled out a small notebook I kept in my locker. On the first clean page, I wrote the date. Under it, I wrote one sentence. They only remember me when they need the airport. That week, the engagement trip became the centre of family conversation. Screenshots of hotel confirmations, a photo of my sister's carry-on laid out on her bed, tagged first-class problems. My mother sent reminders about pickup times and luggage weight limits, not to me, but to the siblings she deemed worthy of representing her. She did call me once. I was in the operations office, watching the morning push begin, when my phone buzzed with her name. I let it ring twice before answering. "What do you want?" she asked, without greeting. "I am at work," I said. "I just wanted to make sure you understand why this trip is different," she continued. "It is not personal. It is about presentation." I pictured her sitting at her kitchen table, posture straight, lips pursed the way she did when she believed she was being reasonable. "Presentation of what?" I asked. "Success," she said. "People ask questions." About me, she meant. About the daughter who wore a reflective vest instead of heels. "I work at the busiest airport in the world," I said quietly. "I manage disruptions that cost airlines millions." She exhaled sharply. "That is not the point." The call ended there. The following Friday, the internal forecast came in. Afternoon thunderstorms. High probability of ground delay programs. Crew margins already thin because of summer schedules. I watched the models update on the screen. Yellow shifted toward orange. This was not sabotage. This was not revenge. This was simply reality. On Saturday morning, the day of their departure, I arrived before dawn. The terminal smelled like disinfectant and burnt espresso. Screens flickered to life as flights populated the board. I clipped my radio to my vest and signed into the system. By mid-morning, the storm cells were forming right on schedule. "Ops to all supervisors," a voice crackled over the channel. "Be advised, potential ground stop within the hour." My phone vibrated again. A message from my sister. "Hey, quick question. Our flight looks delayed. Can you check what is going on?" I stared at her name. This was how it always started. Casual, assumed, as if the distance my mother enforced disappeared the moment inconvenience appeared. I typed back. Weather and crew constraints. Follow the gate agent instructions. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Then my mother called. Her voice was tight this time. "We are at the airport," she said. "This is getting ridiculous. They are saying we might miss the connection." "I am aware," I replied, eyes on the operations screen. "You work here," she pressed. "You can fix this." There it was. The unspoken rule finally spoken out loud. "I can explain the policy," I said evenly. "I cannot override it." She lowered her voice, as if someone might overhear through the phone. "After everything I have done for you," she said, "this is how you act." I thought of the mortgage payments, the late nights, the quiet favours no one counted. "I am doing my job," I said. The same one you called embarrassing. Silence stretched between us, broken only by the hiss of static on my radio. Around me, the airport shifted into controlled chaos. Gates reassigned. Crews timed out. Passengers paced. I moved with purpose, issuing instructions, coordinating responses, keeping the system from collapsing under pressure. Then I saw them. My sister first, phone in hand, heels clicking too fast on the floor. My brother behind her, jaw clenched. And my mother, scanning faces, eyes sharp and searching. When she saw me, she stopped. I was standing by gate 21, vest bright under the fluorescent lights, radio at my shoulder, badge clearly visible. Not hiding, not apologising. For a moment, she looked like she did not recognise me. Then her mouth tightened. She walked over, lowering her voice. "We need help," she said. Passengers streamed past us. Announcements echoed overhead. A child cried somewhere nearby. I met her gaze. "Calm. Steady." "I am just airport staff," I said. "Remember?" Her face flushed. My sister opened her mouth to argue. Before she could, the board above us updated. Connection missed. Rebook pending. The sound my mother made then was not anger. It was fear. And for the first time in my life, it did not move me. The airport does not care about your plans. It cares about weather, metal and time. By noon, the storm line had thickened into a wall of grey stretching across the western edge of Georgia. The ground stop became official. Flights stacked up like dominoes, each delay nudging the next one closer to collapse. The terminal noise rose a notch. Wheels rattled. Voices sharpened. People stared at their phones like the screens might lie out of sympathy. My radio crackled non-stop. "Ops, we lost crew on the Dallas inbound." "Ops, maintenance flagged an A320 at gate 19. "Ops, connection banks are slipping." I answered each call without looking up. My hands moved on muscle memory. Reroute. Reassign. Hold. Release. Keep the system breathing. Behind me, my family stood frozen in a pocket of disbelief. My sister broke first. This is insane, she snapped, waving her phone. Our engagement dinner is tonight. You know how much this trip cost. I turned to her slowly. Around us, passengers leaned in, pretending not to listen. They always did. Cost does not change weather, I said. My brother stepped closer, his voice low and urgent. You are enjoying this, he accused. You could make a call. I met his eyes. I am making calls, I replied. All day. For everyone. My mother said nothing. She stared at the board above gate 21, watching the status flip from delayed to rebook pending. Her lips pressed together, the way they did when something slipped out of her control. Her phone buzzed. She glanced down, then back at me. They are saying we might be downgraded, she said. That is unacceptable. Downgrades happen when inventory tightens, I said. Policy. She grabbed my arm. It was not hard. It was not violent, but it was desperate, and it was public. I raised you, she hissed. Do not embarrass me like this. The word landed heavier than any insult she had ever thrown at me. I gently removed her hand from my sleeve. You are not embarrassed, I said. You are inconvenienced? A gate agent nearby looked over, eyes flicking between my badge and my mother's face. A couple waiting with carry-ons paused mid-argument to watch. My sister flushed. People are staring, she muttered. Yes, I said. They are. The announcement came seconds later. Attention passengers on flight 874 to Miami. Due to crew limitations and weather-related delays, all remaining passengers will be rebooked. Please see the gate agent for assistance. My mother exhaled sharply. This is unbelievable. It is Saturday in summer, I replied. She leaned in again, lowering her voice like a secret might change physics. You have helped before, she said. Do not pretend you have not. That was true. And that was the problem. I helped when you respected my work, I said. You made it clear this time that you do not. My brother scoffed. You are being petty. I looked past him at the terminal, at the families spread out on the floor, at the gate agents juggling impossible demands, at the pilots pacing, eyes on their watches. Petty would be bending rules for one family because they share my last name, I said. Professional is doing my job the same way for everyone. My sister laughed, sharp and humorless. So that is it. You are going to let us miss everything. I am not letting anything happen, I said. Weather and crew limits are... The board updated again. Rebooked. Economy. Standby on the connection. My mother's composure finally cracked. Her voice wavered. Do you know what this looks like? I did. I had lived with that question my entire adult life. It looks like reality, I said. Something you taught me to avoid. She stared at me, eyes bright, scanning my face for the daughter who used to fold under that tone. The one who would apologize just to stop the tension. The one who would fix things quietly so she could keep her stories clean. She did not find her. Around us, the airport surged. A supervisor called my name, I answered, stepping half a pace away from my family. I need you in the ops room, the voice said. Media is here. That made my mother's head snap up. Media? I nodded. Local segment. About the storm response? She swallowed. You are going to be on camera? Probably, I said. Her eyes flicked to my vest, my radio, my badge. For the first time, she looked at me the way strangers did when they realised who was actually keeping the place from imploding. Wait, she said, reaching for me again. We need to talk. I took one more look at them. My sister gripping her phone like it was a lifeline. My brother rigid with anger. My mother caught between panic and pride. I am working, I said. Just airport staff, remember? I turned and walked toward the secured door. Behind me, I heard my mother say my name. Not sharply this time. Soft. Frightened. I did not stop. Inside the ops room, the air was cool and humming with screens. Maps. Schedules. Weather overlays. The controlled heart of the airport. A producer adjusted a microphone near my collar. You coordinate this? She asked. Yes, I said. She smiled. Busy day. I glanced through the glass wall, back toward the terminal. My family stood smaller now, swallowed by the crowd. It always is, I said. When the segment aired later that afternoon, my phone lit up with messages. Co-workers, friends, a supervisor who wrote, handled that storm like a pro. I did not check the family chat. That night, as I finally clocked out, I passed gate 21 one last time. The board was calm again. Flights moving, systems breathing. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. We need to talk about what you did today. I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I slid the phone back into my pocket and kept walking, because for the first time, the silence behind me did not feel like loss. It felt like space. The story does not end when the plane leaves without you. Sometimes that is when it finally begins. By Monday morning, the storm had passed, but the ripple effects had not. Airlines debriefed. Ops teams reviewed footage and timelines. A local news segment aired about how Atlanta weather had snarled half the southeast and how the airport kept moving anyway. I did not know I was in it until my phone started buzzing in my locker. You are on Channel 5. Is that you in the vest? Damn, Hayes. That was clean. I sat on the bench, unlaced my boots, and watched the clip on my phone. There I was, standing in the operations room, maps glowing behind me, explaining ground stops and crew legality in a calm, measured voice. The lower third graphic read, Airport Operations Coordinator, keeping ATL moving, no qualifiers. No embarrassment, no apology. That afternoon, my mother left a voicemail. Her voice was tight, controlled, the way it got when she believed she was being reasonable and feared she was not. People are calling me, she said, asking questions. Someone from church sent me the video. Why did you not tell me you were going to be on television? I listened to the message twice. Not once did she ask if I was exhausted, or proud, or safe after a 16-hour shift. Only why she had not been warned. I did not call her back. Instead, I went to work. The recognition did not stop with the segment. An internal email went out praising the weekend response. My supervisor stopped me in the corridor and said, "You handled pressure like a lead. Keep that up." A week later, I was asked to sit in on a planning meeting I had never been invited to before. Not as a note-taker, as a voice. Meanwhile, the engagement trip photos trickled onto social media. Not the ones my mother had imagined. My sister posted a crop shot of a hotel lobby with the caption "Travel Chaos," followed by a vague complaint about airlines. The comments were sympathetic but distracted. A friend of my mother's tagged her under the news clip with, "Is this your daughter? She is impressive." That one stayed up for exactly 2 hours before it disappeared. The call came on Thursday night. My mother did not yell this time. She did not accuse. She sounded tired. "I need to see you," she said. "In person." I agreed, against my better judgment. We met at a cafe near her house, the kind she liked because the cups were ceramic and the people inside dressed well. She arrived early, already seated, hands wrapped tightly around a mug. She did not look up when I approached. "You embarrassed me," she said. I took the chair across from her. "You embarrassed yourself." Her head snapped up. "I did not raise you to throw family business into the street." "I did not," I replied. "I did my job." She shook her head. "You knew what would happen. People talk. They ask why you were not on the trip, why you were not in the pictures." There it was. Not why I was hurt, not why she excluded me, why the image cracked. "I was not invited," I said simply. She sighed, rubbing her temples. "You are so sensitive. That message was not meant the way you took it." I reached into my bag and placed my phone on the table between us. I opened the screenshot, the group chat, her words. "Just airport staff." I slid it toward her. "This is exactly how I took it," I said, "because this is exactly what you wrote." Her eyes flicked to the screen, then away. "You are holding a grudge." "I am holding a boundary." She leaned back, studying me as if she were recalculating something. "Your sister is planning the engagement party," she said. "It would look better if you were there. People expect it." There it was again. Access, appearance, utility. "I am not a prop," I said. Her mouth tightened. "After everything I sacrificed for you." I did not raise my voice. "After everything I sacrificed for this family, you decided which children counted when it was time to celebrate." I listened. Silence settled between us, thick and uncomfortable. Finally, she spoke. "Are you going to help me or not?" "With what?" I asked. She hesitated. "Your father's house needs repairs. Medical bills are adding up. People assume you are doing well." I almost laughed. "You assumed I was disposable," I said. "Now you assume I am available." Her eyes glistened, whether from frustration or something else, I could not tell. "So you are just going to abandon us?" I thought of Gate 21, the board flipping. The moment she realised the world did not bend because she demanded it. "I am not abandoning anyone," I said. "I am choosing myself." I stood, slinging my bag over my shoulder. "If you want a relationship with me," I continued, "it starts with respect. Not when you need something. Not when it looks good. Always." She did not reply. As I walked out, my phone buzzed. A calendar invite. New role. Expanded authority. A step forward that had nothing to do with my last name. That night, I stood on my apartment balcony, the distant lights of the airport blinking against the dark. Planes lifted into the sky, one after another, following paths most people never saw. For years, I had been the one making sure others took off, even when it cost me everything. Now, I was finally boarding my own flight, and this time, I did not need her approval to fly. There is a strange quiet that comes after you stop explaining yourself. It is not empty. It is not lonely. It is simply free of noise that never belonged to you in the first place. The weeks after the cafe meeting settled into a new rhythm. I woke up before sunrise, drove toward the familiar sweep of runways and terminal lights, and walked into work without that old knot in my stomach. My badge still scanned the same way, my boots still hit the same concrete, but something inside me had shifted. I was no longer waiting to be seen. At work, the change was subtle but real. People asked for my input earlier in meetings. My name appeared on emails that used to skip over me. When disruptions hit, someone said, "Get her," without hesitation. Authority, I learnt, does not always arrive with a title. Sometimes it arrives the moment you stop shrinking. At home, my phone stayed quiet. No family group chat lighting up with curated joy. No sideways comments disguised as concern. Just the occasional text from my youngest sister checking in, keeping it light. We talked about her classes, my schedule, the small ordinary things that felt safer than reopening old wounds. My mother sent one last message. It was not an apology. It never would be. She wrote that she did not recognize me anymore, that I had changed, that she hoped one day I would remember where I came from. I stared at the screen for a long moment, then set the phone down. I did remember where I came from early mornings and late nights, from doing the work that needed doing when no one else stepped up, from learning how systems fail and how people survive inside them, from a daughter who stayed when staying was hard. What I did not remember anymore was the version of myself who believed love had to be earned through humiliation. One evening, after a long shift, I stopped by gate 21 on my way out. It was quiet, the floor freshly polished, the boards steady and calm. A flight was boarding smoothly, families laughing, a couple holding hands as they stepped forward together. I leaned against the wall for a second and watched them go. Success, I realised, was not a seat class or a photo opportunity. It was standing exactly where you were meant to be without needing permission to exist there. I still wear steel-toe boots. I still answer radios and solve problems most people never think about. I still get grease under my nails some days. But when I swipe my badge now, I hear my own voice instead of hers. Clear, steady, unapologetic. If someone only values you when you make their life easier or their image cleaner, that is not love. That is a transaction. And you are allowed to walk away from bad deals. So if you were standing where I stood, with a parent asking you to step back into a role that once crushed you, what would you choose? Would you call it forgiveness and give them access again? Or would you choose your own freedom, trust that you are not selfish for protecting it, and finally take off on your own terms?